And welcome to the Sugar and Spice. We have got one of the assistant women's basketball coaches, Coach Mills, with us tonight. Good to have you with us. This is your first year at USC Upstate. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Coach Isaac Mills came over as a graduate assistant at the University of Wisconsin 2 years before this, and then I was also a student manager and practice player there as well. Born and raised in Wisconsin, met Coach Williams at a camp called Snow Valley in Iowa when I was a camper, and then as a coach while I was a manager in Wisconsin. So I'm familiar with Coach Williams back when he worked at Belmont Abbey. So I've been in contact with him for years, and I always say that's kind of how this industry works, and connections and getting to know people young, and that's kind of how you get into it. And obviously it worked out for me, and I'm down here. And unfortunately, they said it never snows, and all of a sudden it snows 3 times in 2 weeks, and I'm used to it, luckily. But I'm looking forward. This summer was awesome. It was nice to have sun all the time. In Wisconsin, sometimes it's environment.
Yes. Now, are you a Packers fan?
I sure am, yeah.
I'm a diehard Packers fan, but I'm a stockholder.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm a stockholder,
Yeah.
and probably I still look back at this as being a bucket list trip. But I was covering the Carolina Panthers. The Panther people there, the vice president of the Panthers, was a really good friend of mine. And I told him that one year when the Packers played the Panthers up in Green Bay, I said, I want to go. So he arranged for me to come and go up there, and that was a bucket list trip for me.
Yeah,
The Panthers and the Packers, because like I said, I covered the Packers, or covered the Panthers, but I had grown up, Bart Starr was the first autograph I ever got.
Nice. Bart
Starr and all the Ray Nitschke, Donnie Anderson, Paul Horney, all those guys back in the days too. But
it's been great ever since, honestly.
And I've interviewed 3 or 4 times. I've interviewed Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I always liked Aaron Rodgers.
It's probably an interesting interview.
He's good.
Yes.
He was very good, and I always liked that. A lot of people misunderstand him. But the last time I interviewed him, he was at the BMW golf tournament, was playing down here for that. But he'd be in between holes, stuff. He'd walk over to the little kids and say, "Would you like an autographed ball?" And he'd talk to kids and people, and it's kind of funny. When I've got being a stockholder, I've got the Super Bowl ring from the last thing.
2011, 2010, one of those 2 years.
Yep. He won, and I went up to him and I was talking to him after we finished the interview. And I hadn't got it on tonight. I should have worn it, but I had it on there and had my ring. And I said, "Packers stockholder," and he kind of nodded and grinned at me. I said, "I need another one for this time." And he said, "You're dead right." But we never got it. I never got that.
Unfortunately, we were close a couple times.
But my one trip to Wisconsin, I went up there, and there was a chance of snow, and so it was really, really cold that day. So I went to the game and was outside. It was in the low, like in the 20s or something during the game, before the game and stuff. And I went over there where they were having ice skating with the Packers thing and stuff, and just taking in all the sights. And so I'm in the press box up there, and got a great seat in the press box, and we're eating the curds, cheese curds, and all the stuff up there that I've never had before, the knockwurst and some other stuff up there. And it'd be about in the second quarter, it started snowing a little bit, because the grass was just as green as this starting the game. Well, by the time we hit the third quarter, it was coming down. By the time we hit the fourth quarter, you couldn't even see the lines or anything on the field. And it turned into a downright blizzard. And it came down to the final play of the game. The Panthers had the ball on the Packers' 1 yard line. And it was the final play of the game, and they were down 8. And they stuffed Christian McCaffrey on the goal line, and the Packers won that game.
They sure did.
So I went down to Lambeau Field I went into the locker room. I got to go into Green Bay's locker room, and then went and talked to Rodgers and what's his name, the coach down there, interviewed him. I got to interview several players in the locker room. They got a really neat locker room.
Was that with LaFleur or?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
LaFleur, with the LaFleur. And so I went in the Packers locker room, and got to see that and talk to them. So I went back out and was doing my post-game video that I always shoot on the field in the end zone, right in front of the wall with the Lambeau leap. And it was snowing so hard, it was just beating me in the eyes. I couldn't see the other end zone. It was coming out so hard. So when my buddy and I, my best friend and I, he went with me to do it too. He's a Packers fan. So when we finished the interview, I shooting a video, I told him, he was going to go on up and meet me in the press box while I put the equipment up. Well, the big dummy shut the door that leads on the Lambeau field and locked me on the field. And everybody had gone home, and it was pouring down snow. I was the only one on the field, and I couldn't get out. And this business, the dad blamed Lambeau leap. I did the Lambeau crawl. There ain't no way. There's players, what people don't realize, when they do it, they jump halfway up, and the fans pull them the rest of the way up. But I tried that thing, and I looked like a cartoon character trying to jump up there. And finally jumped up and crawled up to get in the stands, and every gate I went to was locked. And I finally found a way to get off the field and get back to the press box. And I finally got back up there, and he's up there drinking hot chocolate up there. And I could have killed him for that. I have not let him live that down. But I remember I was supposed to fly back the next day from the game, and it got snowed in down there. So I had to go to Milwaukee, that we had to catch a ride. A motel owner, or the motel manager that we were staying at, drove us. We paid him. He wasn't going to do anything. He wasn't going to charge us. He was just a nice guy. But I gave him all the money I had in my pocket for gas there, but drove us to Milwaukee. And when I left to come home from Milwaukee, it was 17 degrees below zero.
Sounds right. That's why they call it
the frozen. But you talk about my one trip to Green Bay and to Wisconsin. I couldn't have written a script any better than that.
Sounds perfect.
So I love there. I love the countryside with the snow up there, with all the silos and everything. No, but beautiful country up there.
I love it. That's home. But I do not miss the snow.
So
it's nice down here.
But I'm a huge Packer fan. And just, my one trip to Wisconsin and Milwaukee and everything, I will never forget. That will be something, one of my bucket trips that came true.
That's a once in a lifetime experience.
It was. We couldn't have asked for a better thing up there. With Green Bay in the snow, that's what I had, as a little boy, had watched and dreamed of and got to encounter that. Well, talk a little bit about coaching. How did you get into coaching?
Yeah, so my dad is actually a Division III basketball coach back home in my hometown. So I've always been around basketball. Literally every day after school, he'd pick me up, and then me and my sister would go hang out, shoot out the extra basket, literally every single day. Once I got old enough, I would run the shot clock and the scoreboard for them for practice, and then once I got old enough for filming, I would film practice for them, film the games, and I would travel with them literally everywhere they went, home, away, all that. And I kind of fell in love with basketball, and I played it as well until senior year of high school, and then decided to go to UW-Madison and literally be a manager. That's why I went there.
Okay.
Because I knew that would give me the best shot to become a Division I basketball coach. My dream.
Did you ever know Lamont Parrish when he was up there?
Yep. Now he's down here in South Carolina.
He's having a rough year.
He is,
I'm a little worried about Lamont's job right now. I think he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, it's rough, right? I mean, the SEC is tough. It's a tough league, and South Carolina's never really been known. I mean, they had that one great run. What was that, 2018?
Yeah,
when they went to the Final Four.
Frank Martin.
But other than that, I mean, it's not like they're.
Well, back in the day, it was actually Frank McGuire who got me started in basketball. That he was, legend at North Carolina, South Carolina, and I think at St. John's too.
Sure.
So he was a legend. But he's probably the one that actually put basketball on the map in the state of South Carolina with everything he did for it. But I'm worried about Lamont right now because, he was SEC Coach of the Year 2 years ago. And they're going to probably finish dead last 2 straight years. And you know how it is.
It's not ideal, especially
the
in today's world.
Well, it's with the way NIL is too, when they say, well, we gave you the money to buy the players you wanted and you didn't get it done. So I'm afraid he's going to be in a tough situation here the rest of the year. So, what is your ambitions there? I know right now you're an assistant coach, but Do you plan someday of wanting to be a head coach, or what's your career goal?
Yeah. So right now, obviously, I knew Jason before taking this job. I knew what he stood for and the type of program he likes to run. And I felt like learning from a man would be really beneficial for me in my first job. Because someday I do want to be a head coach, I think. Learning how he kind of operates and runs his program as a man is different, because obviously women's basketball is a women-led industry. And I think that learning from him so far this year, I've learned a lot. Whether that's just how he runs the program or how I can use my own voice and excel in what my strengths are, and then obviously grow in my weaknesses as well.
Now, would you ever want to be a men's coach or a women's coach?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of it's about connections and networking, and I have a really good network so far in women's basketball, but if something ever would open up, I definitely would say no, just because it's men's basketball. I think basketball is the same no matter who's playing.
It is, and probably, I have coached both. That, like I said, I shared with you, I believe I had about being the first paid assistant coach at USC Upstate with Title IX, going over with that though. But I also, when I left USC Upstate and got married, I had to start at the very bottom, and I coached middle school girls basketball. And I mean, I went from coaching men and coaching college 1 year to dunking pre-games to only 3 people because you lay it in practice.
Right, you might score 6 points.
Yeah, you would. But we were conference runners-up that first year.
Nice.
And I learned a lot of things from coaching women's basketball. I'll be the first one to tell you that women play harder and play with more heart than guys do.
Yeah.
They're limited in what they, well, I mean, South Carolina's got a couple that can dunk right now.
Right.
But they're limited in the things they do. But to me, I could guarantee they play with more emotion, and they sometimes, a lot of times, play with more heart than guys do.
Yeah, I also like coaching women's basketball because it's a little more fundamental. You can't just have any men's player, right? I mean, a lot of them you just mentioned, like you dunk, you can throw a backdoor lob to them and they can dunk, or they can go coast to coast in a matter of 4 seconds and make a game-winning lay. I mean, you might see South Carolina players do that, but most Division I colleges in women's basketball are not going to be able to get away with athleticism. You're going to have to use the skilled players that you have and take advantage of what the opponents are doing. And I really think that it's more fundamental and speed.
You did, and that's the thing that probably women shoot free throws better than men. I know they got the smaller ball, but their fundamentals are better than the guys because it's things they've had to work on to be successful.
Right.
Whereas guys just take it for granted.
Right.
You know, that's one thing that really upsets me. That when a guy walks in the gym, the first thing he'll do is probably pick up a ball and start shooting threes. Or if he's a big guy, he's going to go dunking. You'll never see anybody go practice free throws. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Is that's the only shot that is a free shot.
No one's guarding you.
No, and I was an 89% free throw shooter for my career. And I remember I shot all the time. I shot free throws. And I made 163 free throws one day in a row.
Oh, wow.
Practicing. And there's been many.
80% is just not a lot, right?
No, it's not. I could probably go out there and I challenged Patterson. Kimberly. I had a little lesson of free throw shooting with her when I had her on here. We also had a lesson about turnovers too.
Sure.
I told her that she had more turnovers than parties, but she didn't know parties and something there. But she's cleaned that up, and I said we're gonna work on your free throws now.
Nice, yeah.
So with that, but it's a routine. I said I challenge you. I said I'll come in and I said we'll shoot 10. And I said, I'll shoot 10 with my eyes closed, and I'll make more than you will if yours open. Because it's all in doing them the same way. But I used to do free throw clinics.
Sure.
That I would do that. But I went to the Final Four one year and was down there, and it was over at the Fan Fair. They had a contest over there. And one of the games was that you got to shoot a free throw until you missed 2 in a row. I made 78 in a row, and by that time I had a big crowd up, and I had my stuff dressed on for the game, dressed up for the game there. And to make a long story short, I finally got tired and was ready to quit. And when I finished, I made 128 out of 132.
That's pretty good.
And that was wearing my dress shoes, dress pants, a sweater, and something else. And the guy who was running the game, when I made I think when I hit about 70 or 63, I believe it was, free throws in a row, he said, "You played before, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah, and I coach now." But it's fun. I've enjoyed that. But if I were to go in a gym right now, the first shot I'd shoot would be a free throw.
Yeah,
because
some people shoot form shots, free throws are just as important.
And I used to love to go that, when I covered the NBA and all, I had a lot of friends in the NBA and stuff, that Dale Curry is who I love to watch play, because and his sons are the same way that I've talked to them. But he would come in and he would work on form shots. He would get in the paint, he would practice shooting the little 3-footers, nothing but net.
Yeah.
You didn't use the backboard, nothing but net. But he would do that and then back up about halfway the free throw line. But he spent his first 10 to 15 minutes on form shots. And it was probably not until 15, 20 minutes before he moved inside the arc and started shooting. But everything was perfect form is what he would do every time he walked in. And you can't argue with the success. And the Suns too.
Yeah, and they said that he forced Steph and Seth to, like, they couldn't shoot threes until they could make a certain amount of mid-range shots until they were old enough, something like that. And obviously it's worked out for sure Steph, but Seth was also a really good shooter as well.
I asked Seth one time, I said, tell me, when I was interviewing him, I said, what were backyard games like in your house growing up? He said they were good.
But yes, they were probably very, very competitive.
They were very competitive right there, though. But that was just that, doing that, and it just, one of my pet peeves that I've got in coaching is for kids that will not use the backboard and the basket.
Right.
I see, and I cover South Carolina on a regular basis, and I get so disgusted at how many easy shots that they miss because they won't use the backboard. That's the former athletic director of the state.
Oh, right. I never met him.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's who that is over there. So I worked a couple of seasons with him there. So, but yeah, that's one thing I cannot understand why kids do not. I was always brought up and I always taught that the backboard's your best friend. Good to see you. Good to see you, sir. But that's your best friend in shooting right there. There's a lot of things too that as a coach that I still am a student of the game. I still love the game, but it's so hard to sit there that I'll watch y'all play, I'll watch the men play, and all. I'm like, you got to do this, you got to do that. Now I just want to pull them over and say, you got to do not make that Stevie Wonder cross court pass that even Stevie Wonder can intercept, and all there though. But it's hard though. But that's the part I miss most about it is the teaching of the game and about just the players, the camaraderie, and all that. I love my players. That was very special. So, all right, well, let's get into some fun questions for you right here. We're going to see. All right, what month were you born?
I was born in May.
In May to what?
May 30th.
Okay.
So it's always fun. Memorial Day is usually around my birthday, so I get a nice 3-day weekend.
There you go. All right, what's your favorite foods?
I really love a good buffalo wing.
Okay.
And probably like a fried walleye or perch is really good, like in the summer on Friday, like a Friday fish fry. That's probably one of my favorites.
Okay, so were you ever like up your way with lobster and things like that? Were that
I mean, you can get lobster and seafood, but I wouldn't trust it up back home, right? It's more.
I've never had lobster before.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I was curious. I just something crawling around like that. I don't know about that though. All right, what's your favorite color?
Ooh. Probably blue overall. That's probably been my favorite color just in general. Even though I like to wear green. It's a nice, my car's green, which I've had before I got this job, so I guess it was meant to be.
I love bright colors.
Right.
That I will wear pink. I will wear
Yeah, I've
purple.
seen a couple of your outfits.
You've seen,
Yes, yes.
I
You
love
had like
the colors.
a bright blue with like I think an orange. Yeah, when I
Yep.
saw you the last time at our game.
Yep, in the men's game I was at last week, I had a sport coat that was purple and green.
Oh.
That was the best of both worlds because USC Upstate was purple and white when I went there and played.
Okay.
Now it's green and white. And we had a game in the Carolina Coliseum in that transition year that we were playing before the Gamecocks. We played Coastal and they played William and Mary. But all of our stuff hadn't come in, so we came out and warmed up in purple and white warm-ups and wore green and white uniforms.
Hey, whatever works, right?
So I told them the other night when I was at that game, I said, this is the best of both worlds, purple and green, were their two former colors there. All right, do you ever put ketchup on your steak?
No.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite pet?
I never actually remembered them, but my family had Labrador retrievers when I was growing up. My dad was a hunter before he got into coaching. So probably a dog. And if I could pick what type of dog, probably a golden retriever.
Okay. I love dogs. I love all animals. They're just they're very special to me. Let's see. Have you ever ridden a motorcycle?
I don't think so. I mean, I've ridden a dirt bike. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
It's in the same category.
We'll give you a check on that.
Perfect.
Have you ever been skinny dipping?
No.
Okay. It'd be a little cold up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, definitely not.
Down south, where you can get away with it a little bit here. So you ever got the speeding ticket?
No. And I've only been pulled over one time because I was driving my mom's car and the lights were on.
I got 3 speeding tickets in a year.
Oh, wow.
See, it was my fantasy, but I had 3 different people who got them fixed for me. So I didn't have to
Well,
pay
that's
a
good.
ticket.
That's good. Technically, you got 0.
You talking about knowing people? I was the head coach at Coastal Carolina was a buddy of mine. I was down there for team camp, and I said, Pete, do you know anybody? Before I could finish, he said, give me the ticket. He got it taken care of me, though, so I didn't have to go back to Myrtle Beach to go to court with it. I've been another one that I had. My assistant coach that I had, I had coached him in high school, but he was the deputy sheriff there, so he got that one for me there. So I've I would say I've slowed down, but I've gotten a little bit better that I use my little waves thing to tell.
Yep, to tell when there's cops up. Yeah, I use that too.
I mean, because I went to, I covered South Carolina and Tennessee women yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I got
That was
Columbia.
probably a fun one for South Carolina.
Yeah, I'll show you the stat sheet. Tennessee shot 44 threes.
I did see that one point in the second half, they shot 24 shots and 23 were threes or something.
South Carolina went to a matchup zone, which never has played zone until this year.
Yeah.
And they were great in it because I told her, I said, you know, they ran a matchup zone, they ran a 2-2-1, 3-quarter pressure, and Tennessee was throwing the ball in the stands and stuff like that. They weren't even really pressing them hard. They were just pressing them to slow the tempo down, token pressure, and Dawn played a 1-3-1 matchup against Georgia. And I've always been big because when I first got into coaching, I didn't have the athletics everybody did. And I had to play zone to have a chance to win. And now it just gets me that so many teams, coaches have egos that they think that, well, we've got to play, you know, that's sissy if you play zone. I'll play whatever I need to do to win all games.
Whatever else you win,
And
right?
because she said, I can't believe anybody had ever told me that I'd play that much zone in a game. She said, I'd laughed at her. But they asked her at halftime about her playing zone, and she said, I'm going to play it the rest of the game until the cows come home. And she did, and they were so frustrated that they only made 7 shots inside the arc the whole game. And they shot 44 threes and maybe made either 11 or 12. They were 23% from the three-point line. And that's why you win 93 to 40, 50, 93 to 50. So, but, all right, let me get back to these real quick. I'm not going to give you all of these. I'm going to give you a break right here. What do you binge watch on TV?
Right now I'm watching House. It's like a doctor show.
Okay, yeah.
Now,
are you single or?
I have a girlfriend.
Okay.
She lives back home in Wisconsin. She's in PT school right now.
Okay, all right. So you get to stay up late and watch that TV.
Yeah. We also have been watching Friends recently. Together we'll just sync it up on our TVs and then we'll watch it. So.
See, the only time I get to watch TV is when my wife goes to bed.
Okay.
So that I stay up till about 3 every night. That's my best time. I bought a new Christmas present for myself after Christmas. I've got the virtual reality goggles, and I got Golf Plus. And
So you're able to play like with the goggles on?
yeah, you play with. You don't have to put it on TV. You play with goggles on. And it took me a few minutes. The first time I played, I thought I was walking down the fairway and tripped and fell over the recliner. And I hit the Christmas tree once on my backswing, and I hit the coffee table once too.
So now you've spaced everything. Your living room is just empty.
I play, yes. What I do, I have to wait until my wife goes to sleep, and I move the coffee table out and clear out the room. But last night, I slipped and I hit the coffee table, and I thought I'd woken her up. She was going to kill me if I hit the coffee table and I was in there. But I play at least 36 every night. Last night I played 72.
So you golf normally like once it's nice out, I assume?
Yeah, we've actually got a show that we do. My best friend, he just turned 76. He's another coach. But we play every Wednesday at one of the courses here in town. And the show that we broadcast is called 2 Old Farts in a Cart. If you ever wondered about what 2 Old Farts in a Cart talk about during a round of golf, then we'll sit there and we ride to different holes. We'll get to have the camera on and we'll talk about the game last night. What did you say last night stuff? And the show was based on what the 2 Old Farts in a Cart talk about during a round of golf. But we shot 27 episodes of that last year.
Oh, wow.
So
that sounds fun.
So I get out and play, but I actually played, I played a course. We were in the Swiss Alps the night before last, and I shot 7 under par. I shot 65, and I ain't never done that. 72 would have been the best I'd ever shot before. But I played St. Andrews, where they play the.
Yep.
And I
over
shot.
in England, right?
Yep, that's over in Scotland. And I shot a 38 on the front, and I said, man, they talk about this being, hard to play. And we played the back nine, and I was in bunkers. I couldn't even see out the top of it.
Right.
My ball's against the wall, and I had to hit it backwards to try to get it out. But I did shoot 80. Let's see. I was 12 over par that day. I shot an 84 in Scotland. And I played Pebble Beach.
And you were in your living room, so you didn't have to actually go there.
Yeah, I had my pajamas on in there. And a sweatshirt on there. But I played that, and I played Pebble Beach. I played Torrey Pines. I played Quail Hollow in Charlotte. I played Sawgrass, the one with that famous little par 3. I birdied that one the first time I ever played it. That's my favorite hole. That's my new thing that I'm addicted to right now.
Sure.
That I'm playing golf every night. My dad burned hip. I think my hip joint is inflamed.
I have to cut it down to 18.
I'm at 36, and they paper down to 18. But I play. I play 72 or 72 holes, and then I go play at kind of as a cool down. I play a par 3 course or something like that.
So how does it work? Like on the green, like you still putt it in?
You got to put it in. See, because what we played here, it really screwed me up. If this in the leather, we pick it up, but I had to put everything out. And,
so that's even more impressive.
That's even more impressive for that, though. But I'm going to see if it carries over to my real game.
I'm sure it will.
But it's just real, just the swing and the time and everything. It's a lot of fun. All right, let me get a couple more quick ones in. I don't want to keep you here all night, though. Have you ever shot a gun?
I have. I shot a 12-gauge shotgun, 22 rifle. Nothing like cool.
I got a Smith & Wesson.
Okay.
9mm. I got my concealed weapons permit with all the traveling after they're going to games and stuff and covering. But I hope I have never have to use it.
Right.
But if I ever came down to saving my family or a loved one or best friend, and I had to shoot somebody, I'd have to do it. So I don't ever want to do that thing. Can you cook?
It depends. I can make like simple meals.
All right, what's your go-to?
My go-to right now is a steak. And then you pretty simply just put it on the stove, 7 minutes each side, and then you baste it, and then with some rosemary, some butter, and then on the side I usually go with broccoli or green beans. That's kind of my go-to.
I love to cook, but my wife won't let me cook because she says I make a mess. She wants me to mess up the kitchen, but I love to grill, and I've got several things that I cook. I cook more than she does. So, all right. You can change. Have you ever changed flat tire?
I have had to one time, but I did have help from friends. So not a solo job. I don't know if I could do it solo.
Okay.
It's a little tricky.
But you've never jacked it up, had to get the luggage.
Right. I've helped. I've assisted, but
Okay.
I haven't been the guy who did it.
I'm sure you can swim,
I
probably.
can't swim. Yeah, I was a lifeguard back in high school.
Okay, you look like a lifeguard.
Thank
You got
thank
that lifeguard look.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's an indoor pool. Yes, you know, Wisconsin's cool.
I thought you were going to say it's a little inflatable pool.
Oh, no.
I found out that one of the men's coaches and Lyric Davis neither one can swim. I told Lyric to make sure he doesn't go in water over 6 inches.
over his mouth.
And I told Coach D'Angelo stay in the baby pool.
Yeah.
So, would you ever skydive?
But yeah, probably in my life. I still got hopefully a couple more years to go. I can skydive.
I'm scared of heights. I could never do that. I could never, ever do that. But I take that back. If the plane was going down and I had a parachute,
Oh,
then
like save your life.
I'd stay in as long as I could until I did. I'd close my eyes and I would scream like a girl the whole way down. I couldn't handle it. I cannot stay. I can't even ride glass elevators. They freak me out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I watched that guy who scaled, one of those buildings.
Yep.
Went up there. That freaked me out. I watched a movie where there was a guy who ran a cable from one of the Twin Towers in New York up there and walked the tight wire. And my heart was starting getting scared. I had to turn it off.
For him, yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
I mean,
a
with the
movie.
wind blowing and the
Right.
ropes blowing, I said, I can't watch this. I can't do that. Have you ever held a snake?
I don't think so.
No, I don't like snakes, but I held a big python. I like mussels with that over there. All right, let me get down. What do you have a fear of? Is there anything you're afraid of?
I would probably say spiders, and I had a big one on my patio that we don't have back home. I used the broom and swept it off as quick as I could.
Heights would be mine. I freak out with heights. Okay, what's something most people would not know about you?
My thumb is triple jointed.
Oh, really?
You want me to show you?
Yeah.
So I can put it below my knuckle if you want to look back and see.
All right. He's got talent.
That's about it. So that's now it looks like I don't really have any thumbs. That's the only cool thing. My other thing is, remember the pacer test?
Yeah.
The beat test? I got 126 on that when I was in high school.
Well, just wait till we do the next TV game.
Oh boy.
Because I had to tell about Coach Fritz. His parents were both coaches, and they both combined. His mother and father won over 1,300 games at the U.S. Championships. I said, that don't put any pressure on you, does it?
Right.
So, yeah, we'll talk about the film trip here. I've got 2 more chances to do that. I got 2 more of your TV games, ESPN games that we have to do. Let me see, get down here, running one quick. Well, let's see. Can you roller skate?
I can ice skate, but I've never honestly roller skated. I'm sure
Okay.
it's probably the same.
I used to could do both.
Okay.
And I could roller skate, go backwards, forwards. I used to could ice skate, could go and spin around one time, do a 360 with that without falling down. But the last time I tried to ice skate was probably about 10 years ago, and it just put so much pressure on my ankles, my feet kept cramping.
Sure.
And I couldn't even make it around
It's
one
not
time. I had to
easy.
stop.
It's definitely not easy.
No, it's not for when you get to be an old fart like me. It makes it really hard. Snow skiing. You ever snow skiing?
I have snow skiing and I
love
have
it.
snowboarding.
I love the snow skiing.
Back home, it's 6 months of the year. You're able to go do it.
Well, see, it was always, I used to, in high school and college, I used to love the snow ski. I love night snow skiing, with the lights
The
up.
lights
It's
up,
so
yeah.
peaceful, But with their basketball season coming up, then never really I really had to stop doing it. I would love, on my bucket list things, I'd love to try it this one. And it would be fun. My first time doing it was an adventure. I'd watched the Wide World of Sports too much and didn't realize that, as a master, you have to learn to ski off the lift. First of all, nobody ever told me that. But I remember coming down the first time on the intermediate slope, and my friends who were on Bunny Hill with me learning at the same time, they were doing that. And I came out digging, like I saw in the Olympics. And I got to flying down that hill, and I remember the last thing, and you didn't do. I was going straight. It wasn't just like you get back and forth like most people do. And I got to going way too fast. And I remember the last thing they told me in ski school was to snowplow. To be
Right.
able
I've heard pizza and French fries is another term, but yes.
to snowplow. Well, when I did that, my skis crossed and I went face first in the ground, and my right ski did not release, and it was stuck straight up, and my friends thought I was dead. But I learned you build speed gradually,
for sure.
going
Go straight
down the mountain there, so I learned that. All right, have you ever caught a fish?
I have.
Can you make your hook?
I can, yes.
Okay, well, you get 2 pluses in. Have you ever hit a hole-in-one in golf?
No, I haven't played long enough, and I'm not quite there yet, skill-wise.
See, Carmela Atkins told me that he'd hit a hole-in-one before. And said he just took up the game. And I said, hitting it in the Clown's Mouth don't count. And
Right,
that's
not many golf.
when Coach Fritz asked him, said, well, how long is the hole? He said 100 feet. I said, 100 feet would be here in the wall over there. He said, I mean 100 yards. We said, what club did you use? He said, an 8-iron. And he said, Nick Book was with me. And I said, I bet Nick Book probably hit one too, and y'all both go stick your story. He said, we're both learning how to play. I said, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I said, you have been challenged. You can bring Nick Book with you, but you're going to come one of these Wednesday mornings or during the summer or spring, and it's going to be 2 old farts and 2 young guns
That'd
in
be
a
a
car.
good show. That'd be a
And
good
he
episode.
said he agreed to do that. So we're going to film that sometime this summer or sometime this
And
fall.
you got to find a hole that's like close to 100 yards, and
Yes.
then give them an 8-iron and say, let's see it.
Yes, we will. Let's see with that. All right. Have you ever been to Empire State Building?
I have not, but I have been in New York City.
Have you? One time I was tricked into going and taking Helen to the candy store.
Yeah.
And night. So the next thing I know, I'm on the observation deck, walking like I'm walking on eggs because I'm scared I'm going to fall through. And my mother picks me up and says, look at there. And I'm kicking and screaming and hollering. And I never did get my candy for that show. I got blackmailed and never did get my candy. All right, what's your karaoke go-to song?
Oh, I'm not much of a karaoke.
You know, singer?
No.
Okay. I think mine would be Black Waters by the Doobie Brothers. I got one time on coaching thing, I got, for the first time I ever did karaoke was that I was working Morgan Wooten's basketball team up in DeMatha up there. And I was, me and my buddy who goes everywhere with me there, who was in Green Bay with me too, we were the 2 rookie coaches there from South Carolina. So the last night at camp, we'd all go to Morgan Wooten had a tavern we went to, and we had to sing karaoke. And so we had to get up and sing karaoke in front of all coaches there. And my buddy, he can't sing anything. I mean, even when he tries, he makes up his own words going along. But he just stood there and laughed the whole time, and I had to take one for the team from South Carolina, singing to all the other coaches. So I don't even know what that song was I was singing, but I was trying to read it there. But I took one for the team that night.
Yeah. At least you can kind of sing, and you at least got to get embarrassed.
Yep. Well, I did, because my fantasy growing up was to be a stock car driver. That I wanted to race the NASCAR driver, or my other fantasy was I wanted to be a rock star. So I'll sing.
So there was your little moment.
That was, and I'll sing, and all that. I've actually been on a record. My wife and I sang. We recorded our own music for our wedding, and the 2 of us sang together. So I love to make a joyful noise, though. But we will, I love 70s music, and when 70s music is on in the car riding around, we sing to it. We'll harmonize. But we'll just sit there and cut it loose singing in the car everywhere we go. See what you got to look forward to when you're 67 years old.
No, that sounds great.
But that's what you do when you retire from coaching and all that. That's about one of the few things in life you still got left to do.
Same with your wife. I don't think I can picture anything better.
That's true. So, last question is, somebody walked into Sugar and Spice right now and did not know anything about you, what would be the most important thing you'd want to know?
That that's a tough question. That I like to leave things better than the way I found them. Regardless of if it's basketball or my job or if it's just sitting here talking with you. I like to make impressions on people and improve their lives or make the program better when I'm at USC Upstate. That's the goal, right?
Yes, that is. I'm asking you one more time.
Sure. Yeah.
Would you like that question?
Yeah, always.
What's one question in life that you've always wanted answered that you've never been able to get answered? That you would like to get an answer on?
Right.
Something like that.
What is outside of our universe? Like they say there's stuff, but nobody really knows,
Yep.
right? So I think that it'd be cool, one, to be the only person to know what the answer is. And then two, like you said, life forms, probably not, but how many more
Martians.
planets? Yeah, whatever. Is there another planets out there that we could live on? Because I think that obviously our solar system and our universe is cool.
Well, mine was, and it's deep, and it used to, when I tried to figure out the answer, I never could. There's something there, is what is, and I'm strong in faith, what is heaven going to be like? And what is eternity?
Yeah. That's similar to universe.
You're right. One of those. One day I'll find out.
Sure.
And the sad thing is, both of my parents died when they were my age. My mother died of cancer when she was 68, and my father died of a heart attack when he was 69. So it's something.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully you keep it kicking and you're good for
I'm
your
trying.
70s.
I got a good 6-month checkup this last week. I got a good report, except my A1C was high because of all this. I'm type 2 diabetic. All the sweets I ate. We went to my daughter's house for Thanksgiving and all the Christmas sweets. And my daughter said, "Well, it was worth it, wasn't it?" And I said, "It hurt me." So they upped my Mont Gyro. Has now been I'm up to 10.0 now. That I had to start a little bit more medicine yesterday to try to get that blood sugar down a little bit from that. So. Well, Coach Mills, I've enjoyed having you and getting to know you, and hopefully the people will better know you now here in Spartanburg. Look forward, and we can remember the thumb trick.
Thumb trick, the pacer test score might be a little more impressive and less weird, but yes, 100%.
We'll do that. We sure will. So, good luck the rest of the season, and look forward to seeing you the Upstate for years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.